Is it just like the dissatisfaction that comes from watching the government be so in gridlock for the last 7 years? So you get a sense that things aren't really working right and not moving forward and smooth and cohesive like you would have wanted. So it's kind of like bump all these politicians. Are there still serious voter get out to reach individuals who are not registered, get them registered, turn out the vote efforts? Are you starting to see those kind of things in your community where your children may go on a regular basis? You tell me. You tell me. And see, this goes back to what I've said. We haven't really, in a real modern way, I'm talking about the black community, really came out consistently with our vote. I'm talking about in the local issues. I was looking up the last city mayor race. I mean, you're talking about 25% of the electorate. And then that's only a percentage of the general population. They came out to vote. They came out to vote in the city of Cincinnati. And yet people are always talking about, how they want to have some change. I mean, maybe if we came together, coalesced politically, came up with like a slate, okay? We don't need too many chiefs, okay? We need a lot of Indians, but not too many chiefs. Run this down. We all agree on it, something that's positive, and we move it forward. Lawrence writes, younger people see more of the con in voting as opposed to the pros of the voting. That's smart. Younger people are very smart. And the system is rigged. Yeah, the system is very rigged. It's rigged toward the rich. It's rigged toward the well-connected. Is rigged toward the financially well-off. It is. It certainly is. And we all know it on the national level. You've got the Republican Party and the Democrat Party who have conspired to constrict the efforts of any third party or the rise of a third party because they can't get on television for the presidential debates. And if you can't get on television and get on stage with the Republican and national frontrunners, you're not going to be elected in this country. Okay, it is what it is. And the prescription nobody really wants. See, one prescription would be publicly financed elections. The public pays for it. But then, okay, so who gets the money and who doesn't? If you've got publicly financed elections, then won't that take some of the money out of it? And it becomes more about the politics and the charisma of that particular candidate. Again, I'm just spitballing. You tell me. Currently 8:21 a.m. in the Queen City. My name is Nathan Ivey. My pleasure to be with you. And after the break, I'm going to read more of your comments and keep the conversation going. This is the Nathan Ivey Show.
Hey, I'm Blake Shelton. I love that country music connects people all over this great nation, but unfortunately, so does something else: childhood hunger. 15 million children struggle with hunger in America. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks works to rescue our surplus food to help provide billions of meals to families in need across the country. Join the fight against hunger at feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm going to do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
So here's the local headline. Good morning to you. Currently 8:23 a.m. in the Queen City. Nathan Ivey in the air chair. Police found a man shot dead in an Avondale driveway. Avondale is on the come up, by the way. Don't let anybody fool you. the criminal element in Avondale, I get the feeling they're going to be rooted out very, very shortly. One person is dead following a Monday night shooting in Avondale. The shooting happened in the 500 block of Blair Avenue. Man, 28 years old, was found dead, shot dead. Police are also continue to investigate a fatal shooting, I believe in Coleraine Township. And the man who I believe now is charged is saying that it was self-defense. Self-defense. And apparently they found, there was an argument, and they found a 19-year-old dead. Shot when authorities arrived. 19 years old. I mean, is it that deep at 19 that you got to kill someone or be killed for it? But these are the days that we live in. Again, living in the last days of common sense, which I believe is a precursor to the last days. And everybody wants to know how you stop the violence. I mean, if you came up with a real program that would address that, I mean, you could break the bank. Because all the major cities, minor cities, all the cities are dealing with this issue. Each one is like each man for himself out there in the streets these days. Very, very sad. Brent writes, I can imagine her emotional state of mind in that while growing up, the absence of her father could have made the impetus behind bad decisions she made in terms of her interactions with men. Oh, yeah. The desire for knowing who our parents are is part of our inner being. I absolutely agree. And it will have a huge impact on a young girl and her relationships with the men in her life. Lawrence writes again, younger people see more of the con in voting as opposed to the pros of cons. Or opposed to the pros of voting. You're right. Absolutely right about that. So how do we take the con out? I'm telling you, got to see some successes. They've got to have some successes and feel like, all right, we can actually make things happen. Other than that, it just feels like they're indebted. You got to do it because people a million years ago who you don't know and don't know you did it. That's why. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Mike writes, how do you legislate against white supremacy? Well, you crack down and you charge people for their hate crimes. That's the start of it. We need to infiltrate. I mean, am I worried about ISIS in the city of Cincinnati? Not as much as I am worried about the KKK or some other extremist group, some domestic group. Why? They're closer. Real simple. Real simple. So no, you can't legislate that away. Back to this study that I was telling you about. You need to check this out. Perhaps it may not be your thing, but if you're interested, I'll post a link for you. Democratic candidates and strategists have stressed the importance this year of all young voters. Many of them heavily favored Obama in both of his election contests. A lot of folks are dissatisfied with Obama. Younger Americans are the least likely to turn out in elections. The share of eligible voters ages 18 to 29 who cast ballots fell from a record high of 48% in 2008. Again, only 48%. That's less than half. To 41% in 2012, in the 2012 election. This is according to the U.S. Elections Project. People are feeling like it's a waste of their time. So that's why when I hear people like, my good buddy, at least my good radio buddy, Black Lion, for many years, he would try to convince the world as to why not voting was a position of power. I still don't get that one. How is not? I guess is what it is. My good buddy John from Princeton, New Jersey. We haven't really completely bought all in with this voting idea first. So you tell me, anybody have any bright ideas? Maybe we should pay people to vote. I mean, they're paying people not to commit crimes. There it is. Every time I cast a ballot, $10. That'll get a lot of people to vote. If they don't vote for anything other than the money, what's wrong with that idea? If you can pay someone and take them on trips and cruises because they didn't kill somebody or rob somebody, pay people to vote. Nia writes, and good morning, Nia. She writes, if our young people aren't voting, it's because we, figuratively, aren't setting the example by being serious and excited about exercising our own right to do so. I'm shocked at how many of my peers, 40-somethings, are dismissive about voting when we were taught that not only was it our right, but our obligation. Not sure where the disconnection happened that we need to get back there. I'm with you. 40-somethings, huh? Maybe these are people who never vote. I mean, everybody's got a different mentality. But it's hard for me to, I won't say I don't respect someone who don't vote. It depends on what their rationale is. Like, I have a family member, one of my little brothers. I don't vote. Oh, you vote every time you spend your dollars. You are voting. Every time you put money in a meter, you're voting. Every time you purchase something in Hamilton County, you are saying, yes, I want some of my money to go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay? And how did they get that? How did they set that up? The will of the voters. Had I been on the air back then, I would have urged you not to do it, but I was not. And you were left in the hands of people who either knew less or either had a different perspective about it. I don't know. I had to make up your own mind about that one. I don't know. Lawrence writes, there has to be accountability. Like any job, if an elected official isn't doing their job, they should be fired and bring somebody else in until somebody gets it right. Okay, great. That's called a recall provision. I'm a big proponent of recall provisions. Okay, what does that mean? That means that, let's say, we'll say the attorney general. Let's say the attorney general has a 4-year term. But let's say after the first year and a half or so, things start to come out that make people feel like they need a change in office. Okay, you go, you get the proper number names you need, signatures, you put it on the ballot. The people decide. If they're voted out, they got someone else goes in for the position. There should be a recall measure for all the state positions. You working for the state? Yes. Makes perfect sense. Or does it? You tell me. That's the will of the people. That's what they tried to do with Scott Walker in Wisconsin. They wanted to get him out of there because, well, people felt like his ideas weren't really going to push Wisconsin forward, to put it very nicely. And he won his recall election, basically. He won it. So he was able to stay in office. What's more democratic than that? What's more democratic than that? Well, you tell me. If you're just tuning in, currently 8:32 a.m. in the Queen City, and I know we got a lot of NBA fans. Did you stay up late and watch the entire game? I cannot. It's just a luxury I don't have anymore. I tried to get most of it, DVR the rest, and watched it early this morning when I woke up to rock with you this morning. But it was fun, though. That's going to be a very, very fun series. I don't care who wins. As someone who supports the Cavs and LeBron James, I don't care who wins. Whoever, OKC, Golden State, whomever. You got to beat the best in order to be the best. That's my motto. But it's going to be fabulous. I love the fact that OKC won that first game. You know why? The second game is going to be even more intense. They're going to get, and by they, I'm talking about the Golden State Warriors are about to come with probably their best game in the next game. They don't really do too much back-to-back losing, especially not at home. But if it's a tight game, late third quarter, fourth quarter, it's going to be great. Because what you don't want to do is lose your first 2 games at home, and then you got to go to OKC's house. That's going to be tough. You're talking about great basketball right there. That's great basketball. And everybody needs to stop making Steph Curry the next Michael Jordan. I mean, can he get at least 3 or 4 rings or at least 3 or 4 shots at a title before we do that?